Everything is burning. I feel it a lot like on the sides of my tongue. I'm just like void of knowledge right now. I'm full of pain.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Zach Hurdle. I'm the host. Welcome to Searing Scovilles. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
It's a talk where we burn our mouths while burning through hot topics, but hopefully don't burn bridges along the way. And our fifth guest is Sally Rocks, chemistry. Been at UVU since 2017. Yes,
you're right.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your experience? Welcome to the show. What's your experience with spicy food?
I have a love-hate relationship with spicy food. I often think I love it more than I actually do. So I make orders in restaurants that I regret sometimes because they're too spicy for me.
Is this going to improve that relationship? I wonder.
I'll tell you at the end.
Okay.
I doubt it.
So let's start off with sauce number one. It's no problem. Valentina's Black Label. So let's go on the first one. Cheers. We got it.
All right. This is going to be good.
It's good. It's good. Here we go. Here we go. Fantastic. No problem. Right?
It's like a buffalo sauce.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know how you ended up in Salt Lake City. I think you're from-ish the Northeast. Am I right? Or at least school in the Northeast, I should say. Yes. So what brought you to Salt Lake City and all that?
I'm from Colorado.
Okay.
Originally. So next door. But I went to all of my schooling and everything was back east. So I went to college in Pennsylvania and grad school in New York and postdoc in New Jersey. But one thing about going off to school is you meet a lot of different people. And one of those people that I met happened to be my husband. And so I got married and he got offered a job in Utah. So I came to Utah because my husband's work took us here.
And then you found this while you were here.
And I worked in industry, actually.
Okay. We're doing what?
7 years doing mining R&D. And I came to it, all of my work was very kind of environmental based. So I was doing a lot of like bioremediation and I was focusing on the impact of like mercury pollution and organisms. And then working in mining, I was like, do I have a hope? Like, do I fit in this industry being mining? But I actually found the industry is really trying to align itself more along environmental routes. And I had a wonderful time working in that industry. And I actually got to come up with a whole bunch of new technologies that still got metals out of rocks, but with a lot less energy and less waste.
And so what drew you out to here?
I miss teaching. That was the one thing my job didn't have, was teaching.
Yep. And
I love to teach. And so I decided that while I really enjoyed working in industry, if I didn't try getting into academia soon, it was going to be too hard to make that jump. And so I decided to go for it. And fortunately for me, it worked out.
Awesome.
I love being
and for
here.
Students too. It worked out for students too. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. You ready to move on to sauce number two? We've got some Tabasco Chipotle at sauce number two.
Okay.
So the top left here. Someone's going to try.
It's very dark colored.
It is.
Chipotle smoky, right?
Yeah, that's the idea. A little more smoke, a little less heat.
Look, you're like dipping it in there.
Well, I just want to make it a fair thing. You know what I'm saying? All right.
I already ate mine.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I
eager.
didn't time it right. That one had less spice, I think, than one to me.
It's a little higher, but not much.
Yeah,
I think it's just different.
I like that one. That was good.
So I was never strong in chemistry. I'm not going to say I didn't like chemistry. It was hard for me.
That's
it was
nice
really
of
hard
you.
for me. Yeah. I actually had a really awesome high school chemistry teacher. And it was just a rough class for me. But I didn't realize how many different chemistries exist.
Yes.
Like I just said, oh, chemistry, the end, right? So I'm seeing all these different fields, biochemistry, inorganic chemistry, analytical chemistry, all these things. Can you give me some ideas on what the difference of these fields are?
Sure. So chemistry, just like basic definition, is just the study of matter, which is the study of anything with mass. So no wonder it has so many different subfields.
That's pretty vague.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's a study of everything. So biochemistry is basically how atoms connect and disconnect in order to support life processes. So you have bazillions of chemical reactions happening in you right now, keeping you alive.
Probably more so now.
Yeah, more so now. Yeah, capsaicin reacting with you is a chemical reaction. So biochemistry is the study of chemistry in the context of life, right? Then there's environmental chemistry, which is the study of what happens with molecules and minerals in the environment. And then you have analytical chemistry, which is how do we measure stuff? That itself is a broad field.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm an inorganic chemist / biochemist, and that's the study of metals.
Okay.
So they react in their own special way, so they have their own fields.
Yeah.
There's organic chemistry, which is the study of carbon-based molecules.
Right.
And it's not that they're so different from everything else. Well, they kind of are, but it's because we are made up of foundationally carbon molecules. And the things we are basically interacting with most often in our lives are carbon-based, like all the medications and things we take are carbon-based. So organic chemistry is sort of the chemistry of drug development. It's the basis for understanding biochemistry. It's really a good foundational chemistry, which is why like all pre-meds have to take organic chemistry.
Yeah, the organic chemistry, the one that everyone has positive experiences from. Yeah.
And I have one more. And that's the overlap of chemistry and physics. We have physical chemistry.
Oh, physical chemistry, okay.
And so that's its own area of chemistry too, which involves a lot of kinetics, energy, like thermodynamics, light.
Did you take a course in each of these at some point?
Yeah. So as a chemistry major, you have to study, or at least dip your toe into all of these.
Okay. Good answer. Are you ready for number 3? Speaking of
I was
chemistry,
hoping to
I feel like
just
every
keep
transition is just speaking of chemistry.
Yeah.
So I'll use it now. Number 3 is the El Yucateco Caribbean.
It sounds friendly.
It's like double the last one.
Oh, that sounds not friendly. Here we go.
Here we go. Oh, that's a lot of sauce. Oops.
Oh, a lot of sauce.
That was a very wet wing.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that one? That one always hits me further back.
I'm okay for now.
Okay.
I'm okay.
I didn't know if no words was good or bad.
Yeah. Okay, slight burning. Now it's hitting me more.
Like it's in the back, right?
It's like delayed.
Yeah.
It's building over time. Okay.
We're good.
We're good.
Everything's fine.
It's only sauce 3. I have to be good. We're good.
Do you play rugby?
Yeah.
Did you, and a lot of winter sports too? Like, can you give me some idea of your sports
Okay.
in general? Like, what did you play? What did you like?
Yeah. So all through high school, I was a runner. I did track, I did cross country. And then in college, I took up rugby. It involves a lot of running.
And hitting.
And hitting.
Yeah.
Yes. Turns out I needed an outlet. So women's rugby actually involves a lot fewer injuries than men's rugby, though, because American men think of football and they're trained how to like tackle and stuff wearing pads. Women don't know how to tackle at all when they come to rugby, so you learn how to do it without pads, so you get hurt
Under the
less.
context of rugby, I see.
Yeah.
Oh wow, so guys would try to tackle each other as if they had things protecting them.
Yeah.
They don't.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and then winter sports, I love to ski.
Not a snowboarder, you're a skier.
I'm a skier. I've gone snowboarding, and
I tried once, and I'm not again.
When I lived back east, the skiing isn't super. The skiing's actually really quite bad back east compared to like Colorado growing up and what we have here in Utah. And so if I went skiing back east and the snow was bad, which is all the time, I would snowboard instead of ski. Because then I didn't care what the snow was like because I was having fun learning how to snowboard. But here I ski.
Can you give me one of your better skiing stories?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay, go.
Yeah. All right. Little Sally. I'm like 5 years old. My skis are like 2 feet long. And I thought I was the best skier ever. I had this down. And so I decided that I was no longer going to ski forward anywhere. I was going to ski backwards everywhere I went because forward was no longer challenging.
Yeah. Boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a great idea until you think about how you can't really see well where you're going backwards. And so I'm cruising backwards. I'm having a great time. And I see this rope go right over my head. And I realized I passed into a closed area and I was so short, I went right under the rope. And I started panicking and I realized you can't stop very well when you're going backwards, especially when you're going fast. So I go careening to the side of the slope and there was a cliff there. And I went right off the cliff backwards. And there was like an old Forest Service road there. and someone had jumped an old Christmas tree right at the base of this cliff. And I went flying off the cliff, and there's all these rocks, and I missed all of the rocks, and I landed right in this old Christmas tree that still had tinsel on it.
Like it was there just for you.
Yeah, and it was like the universe
Someone last
was
minute
looking
threw
out
it
for
there,
me,
like
right?
we got to get this
Yeah.
to Sally. Yeah.
And so then I managed to like climb back up the cliff to my family, and they talk about how like you see the little pink pom-pom of my hat appear.
Oh,
And
so
then
they
you see
watched
my
you go
little
over it.
mittens. Oh, they were all terrified and
Yeah.
like rushing to the top of the cliff to see what happened to me. And they had to climb down and get my skis.
Kids are brilliant.
After that, I learned to ski forwards, and that I wasn't as good as I thought I was.
Ironic that you missed all the rocks. I mean, I had to say it now. Yeah.
Rocks.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready to go to number
All
4
right.
if you are.
All right, I'm ready.
This is the Heartbeat Pineapple Habanero out of Canada.
Pineapple.
It's about 12 to 1,300 Scovilles roughly. I mean, 12 to 13,000 Scovilles is what I meant.
What's the number 4? Is that this one?
Yep.
All right.
All right, go for it.
All right. Cheers. It's big.
Well, these are bigger nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely sweeter, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, pineapple first. Nothing really yet. I'm good.
Would you say that other one was more when you tried it?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So there's something about like the...
I found that one to actually be more mild than number 3.
Okay, so we're okay.
And I think your hot sauce was hotter than this one. Yeah. Although I'm still burning right now. It's a lingering thing.
So believe it or not, not everyone gets into chemistry as a profession.
I'm shocked.
Right.
All
So
my students love it.
I know. But just occasionally, some don't do that.
Right.
So what were some of the positive and negative experiences that led you to decide to work in chemistry, like full time?
So I had a fantastic high school teacher. So that's what set me on wanting to be a chemist.
Okay.
So that's a big deal. And then when I was in college, I definitely faced some classes that I thought were harder than others in chemistry. And I learned that not all areas of chemistry were my kind of chemistry, which is a good thing to know.
Yeah.
But I did research as an undergraduate, and being in the lab and trying to make new molecules that have never existed before in nature is awesome.
Pretty cool deal.
You are basically making matter that doesn't exist anywhere else but in your flask.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
So that experience got me super excited about the possibilities of chemistry.
Any negative experiences that were like a turnoff for a bit?
So I had a pretty negative experience with a couple classes in college. I had a class where the professor would give us the key to the exam before the exam, which you'd think would be good, because then you'd ace all the exam questions, which I did, because I could memorize the key.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned nothing.
Uh-huh.
And so it made me dislike that whole subject area of chemistry because I didn't understand it.
Mm.
And then when I went to grad school, the very first thing I had to do was take a test in each area of chemistry.
And you didn't know one of them entirely.
And I luckily knew that test was coming.
Okay.
And so I had like my panic moment 3 months before where I was like, I have to teach myself this area of chemistry.
Which one was it?
It was physical chemistry
Gotcha.
1.
Gotcha.
So I had to teach myself over the summer everything I should have learned and didn't. That was hard. And it made me really not feel comfortable with that area.
So not always getting test answers ahead of time is a good thing.
Yeah, it turns out learning is more important than grades.
Gosh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm ready for 5. We're moving along. We're going to be halfway there.
Okay.
Are you ready for 5? 5 is hotter than El Ghost sauce out of Florida.
I don't know.
It's like 40,000-ish, if I remember right.
So 5 is incredibly chunky looking.
It's very salsa-ish.
All right.
Yeah. In fact, it sticks less. So I kind of had to scoop some to make sure
I have like a little pile.
Yeah.
I got a mountain.
All right, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
This is huge.
Oh,
okay, here we go.
All right.
One bite. I can't tell if that would feel different if we didn't eat 4 sauces before that.
Right. Like I can't tell if it's an advantage that I partially numbed
Are
prior
you?
to this, or if I'm just like more sensitive because I'm in pain all the time. It's hard to know.
Well, we're halfway.
We are halfway.
Now look. Notice your lower row is much darker.
Yeah.
That's a foreshadowing. Yeah.
Dark things to come.
I heard that. I think from what I understand, a lot of your research interests lie in microplastics.
Yes.
In the environment, particularly around Utah and lakes and things like that.
Right.
I think. Yeah. So can you give us some more details about that and interesting takeaways and just a bunch of stuff about that we might not know?
So, I'll give you the bad news first. Microplastics are everywhere.
Yeah.
They're unavoidable. They're in the hot sauces. They're in the air we're breathing. If I drink any water, that water bottle's full of them. Mm-hmm. So they're sort of unavoidable. So on average, we're all consuming like 40,000 particles a year minimum. But we don't know if they're really bad for us. That's the good news. We don't think they're good for us, but we don't know exactly how bad they might be. Okay. So that's an area of research. And what we also don't know is how they're distributed in the environment. And we don't know how they move in the environment. We know everywhere we look, we find them, but we don't always know how they get in the places they are. Okay. And so one of the interesting conundrums is that microplastics show up where there isn't any human activity. So like on the top of remote mountains, in deep sea trenches, in our national parks, in the middle of nowhere.
So literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
Okay.
And so they're actually carried by the wind. And so we're doing research in Utah Valley to look at how microplastics are moving around these different environments. And we're seeing what's coming out of the air, what's getting trapped in the water, what's getting stuck in the sediment. Can we actually see sort of like a plastic cycle, like the water cycle, where plastics are actually able to move around? Yeah. And so we're trying to get a really good snapshot for what's happening just in our own backyard. Mm-hmm. And then also what plastics are present. Like, is that an old plastic bag or is that an old water bottle?
Can you tell from the microplastics?
We are working on doing that. We're collaborating with Dr. Ship in physics, and we're doing some spectroscopy to identify the types of plastics.
I see. And have you gotten far enough to know like what's showing up the most or not yet?
We don't know the exact plastics that are showing up the most, but we've seen some really interesting trends where I thought that the plastics in Utah Lake, for example, would be pretty evenly mixed throughout the whole lake. Yeah. And they're not. There's definite areas that are higher in plastic concentrations than others. Okay. And I thought that if there were differences, then we'd see where like wastewater treatment plants are letting out, they're effluent, or right by cities, we'd see more plastics. No. And that's not the case. We find more plastics in the very southern part of the lake where there's a lot less human activity than everywhere else, which is confusing. Right. And we hypothesize, and we're working on seeing if this is true. But one idea is that every time you do laundry, you actually have a whole bunch of fibers from your clothes that go with the wash water. Okay. And it's like dryer lint, like you put stuff in the dryer, you get all that lint. Mm-hmm. Well, you get stuff off your clothes in the wash too. You probably just don't realize it because you don't see it. And that goes to wastewater treatment. And they remove most of the solids. They remove about 99% of the solids. But you end up getting little bits of microplastics coming out because there's just so much plastic entering from our homes. So that can be a big source. But then all the stuff they remove, what do they do with it? Because they're constantly removing solids from the wastewater, right? And they have to do something with those solids. And so they have a choice. They could take it to the landfill. So we could fill up our landfill with this solid residue from wastewater treatment. Or we could do something useful with it. And it turns out that a lot of that waste is high in nutrients because it's wastewater coming from our homes. And it's called biosolids. And so it's made available as free fertilizer.
So it's bad mixed with good.
So it's bad mixed with good. So it turns out most of the microplastics that are coming from our laundry are actually in those biosolids. And then if they're used as fertilizer, they can wash then off wherever they're applied and end up in the southern part of Utah Lake.
With Utah Lake, there's like a stigma that it's in. Yeah, well, how does Utah Lake compare to like other bodies of water?
It is not at all dirtier in terms of plastics than other bodies of water. Okay. And Utah Lake, it has some problems, but it's actually, in terms of like the environment of Utah Lake, it's been making a lot of positive steps towards recovery. Okay. It's a lot cleaner than it used to be. Okay. And even though it always looks sort of dirty, well, it looks a little dirty because it actually has a whole bunch of minerals suspended in it, and it's naturally that way. Right. So just because the water is not pristine like Lake Tahoe blue is okay. It's naturally supposed to be that way. Yeah.
Got it. I'm ready for number 6.
Really?
I mean, number 6 is out of Houston, Texas. It's Bravado's Black Garlic and Carolina Reaper. Comes in at 70,000 Scovilles. Yeah, that's it. It's a little of a more watery sauce. A lot of Bravado sauces are a little watery.
It has 5 flames on the label. I wonder how many flames they go up to. Maybe 5.
Here we go. There's a lot of sauce this time. So I think now we should have our picture this segment where we show I try to look for pictures on the internet of our guests and get some context on those pictures, right? So here's our first one. Can you give us a story behind this? What's going on? What's happening?
Yes. So this is actually research. So chemistry research doesn't always have to be in a lab. And
is that Utah Lake?
Yeah, this is Utah Lake. And this is us going out and getting samples for microplastics. And we actually rented a boat.
Nice.
And so these are research students. So Braden and Alex are my research students. And then that's me hanging off the boat, and I have a pipe. And on the end of that pipe is, it's kind of cool. It's like a little shovel that's held together with springs. And you push a button on the top of the pipe, and it releases the springs and makes it close. And you can use it to grab sediment. So it can like fall down into the dirt and grab dirt and pull it up. So we were doing water samples and then also seeing what was in the solids in the bottom of the lake. I am on fire.
Is that one okay? I was gonna say, is that one a lot hotter?
Yes.
I have another one that might be like pre or post some thing you did out.
Yes.
Like what is? Oh yeah, Taz got it. Yeah, what is? Who we got? What's going on? What happened?
So this is just last year, and this is going to the American Chemical Society conference. And so there's actually Dr. Steve Chamberlain is pictured here too. He's an organic chemistry professor. And we took students to this conference. It's a national conference. It has around 10,000 attendees. And it exposes students to all different areas of chemistry and professions within chemistry. And students got to go and present their research. And in celebration, we took them out to a fancy dinner. Excellent. And so this was at a pretty nice upscale restaurant. And
after a long conference day.
Yeah. and really celebrating the students' achievements, doing a great job with talks and posters.
I've got this that I also pulled. Where are we at on this one?
Yeah, this is Moab.
Okay.
I kind of love the desert. And I pop down to Moab when I can. And I love to hike, I love to mountain bike, let's climb.
Okay, so you mountain bike too?
Yeah.
Great.
And so Moab is
not backwards though.
I haven't tried that yet.
There's always an opportunity.
I know. I have gone up hills that are so steep, I feel like I might.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I like Moab a lot, and I like being outside a lot.
Okay, so speaking of outside,
Where did you find
now we're inside. I didn't know I had a fear of something until I looked at this picture. Yeah, what's happening here?
So I love to go caving. Caving is the act of exploring underground spaces.
I've seen some really intense videos of like really tight spaces.
Yes.
That people go through.
Yes. So I have gone through places where like your helmet won't fit
right.
when it's on your head. You have to take it off, and your shoulders won't fit, and so you have to like rotate your body to try to make yourself thin. But the payoff is you go through these small spaces, and then you can get into places that are huge, like cathedral-sized open spaces where you can't even see the walls around you. I popped into spaces where all of a sudden there's a giant waterfall flowing.
That like hardly anyone has seen.
Yeah, and you know that you're one of maybe 5-10 people who's ever seen that before.
Yeah.
And you can come around a corner and a whole wall will be coated in gypsum crystals. So the whole thing is just a sparkling crystal cave. Mm-hmm. Absolutely gorgeous. They're really neat spaces. And because I like to climb, I can actually kind of combine the two, where you can go vertical caving, which is where you go into caves that you can't just walk in. It's like a big pit. And so you have to rappel on ropes, and you rappel in. And then you're really going somewhere that's special that not a lot of people can get into, and you're exploring and seeing new and beautiful things, and then you got to climb back out.
There's like horror movies that use that as the context. Just reminding you.
But I really like caving.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
Thinking about actually branching off and connecting research a little bit with caving, where we talked about how microplastics are everywhere.
Are they in there? Yeah.
If the primary route they get into places is through like washing of water or air dropping stuff down. If you have a cave where the water is coming in, where it's percolating through the roof of the cave to get there, the plastics are being filtered out. And if it's closed off where you don't have giant breezes coming in, you shouldn't have plastics coming in. Mm-hmm. So caves might be the last place on Earth where we don't have plastics.
I see.
So I'd be interested to look into that.
Okay. How are we doing? How are we feeling?
I'm still on fire, not going to lie.
Well, just in time for number 7.
Yeah.
Sauce number 7. I love the name 13 Angry Scorpions. Jekyll and Hyde. It's out of Australia. It's a harder one to get, but we got it just for you. So don't worry. It's got a bit more of a. Well, we'll see what you think. I don't want to tell you how.
It does. It is the darkest in color out of all of them.
Look how enormous this chicken is.
I'm glad it's for you.
Trade. This might be a 2-biter for me.
Oh, it's gonna just prolong the burn.
I mean, that's a big piece, isn't it? Ready?
All right, here goes.
1 bite. It'll take me a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What does it remind you of?
Pain.
Oh, okay. I thought it tastes more like a barbecue sauce. But pain works too.
Yeah, I can get the connection with barbecue sauce.
As I mentioned earlier, we're good. I just had one in my throat. We're good. I got the chicken down. There's a lot of chicken. So organic chemistry is a notoriously difficult class for students to take.
Right.
Can you give tips to any students on how to succeed in a class like organic chemistry? Like, no matter, I mean, this is my second university. Everyone has a hard time with OChem.
Yeah, universally, it has an aura to it.
Yeah, an aura is the right word, yeah.
So the good news is a lot of students don't feel super strong in math. And organic chemistry requires
good news.
It requires almost no math.
Okay.
So it's super friendly if you're more concept driven and you don't feel really calculation savvy. The biggest thing about organic chemistry is you're looking for patterns because you're trying to understand how molecules react. And so we're teaching you types of reactions, not so that people have to memorize type A, type B, type C, but so that you can start saying this molecule looks like something that will react in this way. And so it's pattern recognition. So you have to be patient with yourself and work on seeing the patterns, and then you will succeed more.
How was your OChem experience?
So I went to a weird school where you didn't have general chemistry. You jumped right into OChem as a freshman. Yeah.
That's rough.
I know. The good news was it's like the great equalizer. It didn't matter how far into AP you went. You hadn't had OChem. And so we all started on the same level and everyone was learning together. And so it was very cohort building. I got really close to other students in the class because we had this mutual pain, right? Kind of like how we're probably getting closer.
Yeah. This is a bonding experience for sure.
But I found it to be really challenging, of course, to start with OChem. And so I definitely had those moments where like I'd write home and say, I'm really sorry, Mom and Dad. I'm just not cut out for this. I just didn't do well on a quiz. Maybe I should just pack up and come home. You know?
Yeah. Meanwhile, everyone's having the same experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I actually learned a lot about grit. I learned about if you don't do great, don't panic. Keep going. Keep working at it. Fix what's not working for you. Find new ways to study. It really forced me to learn how to learn, which has stuck with me the rest of my life.
Yeah, if you pursued chemistry still, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm half ready for number 8.
I'm not ready yet for number 8. Let's give it a little bit. Maybe
You've gone without water or anything this whole time. It's pretty impressive, but I mean, no, you can do what you want. I mean, I'm not saying you can't.
I'm doing all right. Like everything is burning. This is true, but it's okay.
Number 8 is the fun sauce. Fun.
And
sauce.
not 10? 8 is more fun than 10?
I don't know. I'll let you make that decision.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Scoville wise, it's 180,000. It hits differently. I don't know how to. It's a good one. It's called Dave's Insanity Sauce, if that makes you feel better.
I don't think those numbers translate directly with like nerve firing.
Well, based on what they write. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling a little.
You're sweating a little bit.
A little bit.
Okay.
The problem is these are more intense, but they're lasting a lot longer.
Yeah.
Than the previous ones. So now we're gonna start seeing that layering.
It's front loading, and then they slowly lessen versus delayed. All right. You ready?
No.
Let's do it.
All right.
This is the one that makes me cry. Like I can feel like tears going.
Mm.
Yeah. You told us one
Tastes
fun
very
fact. It's burning.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bad flavor. Yeah, it's a bad flavor.
Yeah. It does not taste good. I don't know what that flavor is.
Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, so you gave us one fun fact in chemistry about how everyone consumes, what did you say, 40?
Oh, 40,000 particles of microplastics a year, at least.
So I was going to ask, this is a spot where I was going to ask you for some other fun facts about chemistry. The more uncomfortable it makes us, the better.
Oh, boy.
We bringing out the milk by that time?
Yeah. Still burning.
It's hot. It's a hot sauce.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Single
I'm tearing
tear
up.
rolls down his cheek.
Yeah. Oh. Chocolate?
Oh, yeah, we got some here. We got bagels. Anything that helps.
Whew. All right. I'm trying to think of a fact, but I'm just on fire and I'm sweating.
That is part of the experience, yep.
Oh, man. Fun facts about chemistry.
Gross, fun, weird, interesting.
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm just like void of knowledge right now. I'm full of pain.
Yeah.
So, mercury. We don't allow mercury on campus. And the reason, of course, is it's a neurotoxin. But metal mercury, like you get in thermometers, that stuff's not the worst mercury. That's like benign mercury by comparison. The bad mercury is the mercury that's in fish, like tuna and sharks and like apex predators. That mercury has a carbon stuck on it. And it makes it way more bioreactive. So your body doesn't have the ability to process that and get rid of it. If you eat mercury metal, which don't do, but if you eat mercury metal, your body actually has a mechanism to be like, I recognize this. I know this is bad. And when I see it, I wrap it up in a little cell membrane and I get rid of it. But methyl mercury, your body's like, I don't know what this is. And it's just able to go do bad things to you. So the question is, how do you get methyl mercury? Bacteria make it.
Okay.
They're trying to kill us.
Okay.
Yes. I'm sure that's not their intention. But I actually, in my postdoc, I studied how bacteria and why they make this methyl mercury. And when they make it, it's actually quite volatile and it's able to actually leave the cell. So one theory is it's actually a survival mechanism. So when bacteria get normal mercury in them, instead of packaging it up and getting rid of it, they actually stick a methyl group on it and let it just vaporize and leave. But the problem with that is it doesn't leave, it stays in the environment and it sticks in fat. And so it moves up the food chain because it starts concentrating in the fatty tissues of animals. So that's why we get like mercury in tuna and we worry about how much tuna we eat.
Right, because you're supposed to limit it, yeah.
A lot of that's from bacteria.
How can you do like tuna and sushi or something?
You eat mercury when you eat it.
Okay. Just limit it.
Yeah, the point is how much can you actually eat? Oh,
it's pretty hot sauce.
Yeah, I feel it.
And I actually think that's not the hottest that Dave's makes. I think there's like one or two other ones, yeah.
I probably won't go looking.
I probably won't either.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty good until that sauce. That's definitely doing it.
Number 9 is my absolute favorite name, Pucker Butt. Pucker Butt Chocolate Plague from the Chocolate Reaper. This one's 690,000 Scoville. So you're like a little over 500,000.
Just numbers.
The numbers don't matter.
No.
No. I mean, at
It's
a
like,
certain
whose line is
point,
it anyway?
isn't it all burning at some point?
Ready? All right.
This is like super smothered. Oh, boy.
All right.
Oh, I don't want to.
They're very bitter to me.
Better tasting than the days, though.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So my strategy is to try to chew and swallow as fast as possible.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good or not. I guess it's good for the
working.
mouth, but not good for the stomach. Or does it even matter? I don't know.
It probably does matter.
At this point, does anything really matter?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, I think the last one hurt more.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because that one is 180 and this one's 690.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's do a little rapid fire. Get to know you better.
Okay.
Ready? Give you some opportunity to say your favorites on a few things. So, favorite television show?
Stargate.
Favorite movie?
Goonies.
Ooh, nice. Favorite book?
I really love books written by a certain author named Elizabeth Peters.
So anything by her?
Yeah, anything by her. They're mystery books, and they take place in Egypt around the turn of like 1900s.
Oh, all of them do.
Yep.
Okay.
And she's an Egyptologist.
Wow, that's very specific.
Yes.
Favorite food?
Sushi.
Even with all your knowledge about fish.
Yes.
Mercury. Okay.
This is true.
Favorite music or like band?
I'll go AC/DC. It's good lab music, by the way, too. I think my reactions like it.
Favorite U.S. city that you've traveled to?
Boston.
Favorite ski spot?
Copper Mountain, Colorado.
Utah couldn't beat it.
Nope.
And favorite sports team, if you have one?
I don't even know who's in the Super Bowl, so this should tell you something about how much I watch
The Chiefs
sports.
are in the Super Bowl, Sally.
I was going to guess the 49ers.
So favorite sport that you played then?
Probably rugby.
By rugby.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Okay. How's the mouth?
Very much on fire. Yes.
It's like in my teeth. Is that weird?
Yeah, I feel it a lot like on the sides of my tongue.
You know, I'm ready for sauce 10.
I could drink some
Well,
milk.
ready is a strong word, but number 10. You're gonna make it.
Yeah, I'm going to finish it out because I'm stubborn. All right, last one.
Look how angry red-brown that is.
My new mark of badness in terms of spice is Dave's insanity, though. That's definitely been the worst.
But this is the last dab Apollo. This is actually from the YouTube show. They started making their own hot sauce.
Okay.
I'm not doing this because of your chicken size compared to my chicken size, which is notably like a third of the size. But anyway, around here we have a little bit of tradition to put an extra last dab on it, on the last wing. You don't have to if you don't want to, but you know, that's a thing that we do now for some reason. Would you like to?
I will.
Okay. Let's do it.
I will last dab it. Oh, that was way
That is
more
a
than
great last dab. I love that. That's a lot. Great. Wonderful choice.
It just gushed out and coated my chicken more.
All right. This is, again, a really large piece of chicken.
I have regrets about my dabbing. Okay.
Here we
goes.
go. Last one. Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be bad.
This one registers at over 2 million. Whatever that means as far as the
So
scale.
they say, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm still doing my
learn.
strategy to just like barely chew and just get it down. I have bits though. I have residue.
I feel it up here more than my mouth, like in my eyes.
Okay.
Now here's the thing.
Yeah.
I have a similar sauce, like at the 8 spot at home.
Uh-huh.
And I find that the 9 and 10 are very hot, but that 8 sauce just really kicks my butt. Kind of like this, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I think
Now,
Dave's
here's the
insanity
thing.
was
If
like,
you didn't
that made me go for the milk. I'm okay.
Right, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like that's not bad. If you do what he did and you go from nothing and just eating that,
Right.
you realize just how freaking hot it is. But I think something's wrong with our mouth right now.
Yeah, I've already killed off so many taste buds or nerve receptors.
So now our last bit, what we did was Alan made a hot sauce at home, like a sweet habanero type sauce at home. And we actually like learned the process through a chemist about the Scoville measuring process and like how that works and how it tastes versus how the numbers come out and just how they actually measure it and all these things. So we have like a 1 minute like short of that kind of experience of learning stuff. And so she hasn't seen it. I haven't seen it.
Before we actually get through measuring this, we need to try it. How are you doing?
It's Bernie. In its pure form, I think it could definitely do internal injury.
So
it should not be consumed.
All right, let's go find out how hot it really is.
That's good.
So if you want to find out more about it, we have like a longer version that's going to be out later. And it shows like the whole process, a lot of cool explanations and like what that sauce actually measured as and things like that. What was one of your biggest findings from doing that entire experiment? What did you get out of it?
Alan's a better chemist than he thought he is. Yeah. So what we did is, it's actually a lab that our senior chemistry students do, is they go in, they take different hot sauces and we extract the spicy compounds and we measure how much of them are there and then try to get a Scoville rating. And so we already have this set up for our students. So when Alan made his hot sauce, that's what we decided to, let's just use it and do the same thing. And we had a lot of fun in the lab. And it's normally a lab that takes about 6 hours to do. And we managed to do it, maybe like 3 hours, which is pretty good. So we were going really fast. So yeah, no, it was super fun. It was really good. Alan got to try out a lot of chemistry skills. We also, it was the very first thing we've run on a brand new instrument. So we have
We broke it in.
a beautiful new instrument. And it turns out that we all needed to learn how to use it a little better. So this was a great way for us to get ready for the semester and our students. We're making sure that we had everything set up just right for this kind of experiment. So it helped us get ready for the semester.
We were just trying to help you out.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Just like I am right now. Well, you, Sally, you made it through.
I did.
You threw down 10 hot sauces.
I did.
Like it was nothing. Because of that, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to talk about whatever you want. Promote whatever. Talk about whatever. Yeah, of course we're going to get this. I'm going to give this to you.
All right.
And it's one of the bigger awards you've ever had at UVU.
And yeah, this is going to be proudly displayed in my office.
As it should be.
Absolutely.
Shove all the other faculty of the year,
Yeah.
whatever. Put that out of the way. Put that there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, give it 30 seconds on anything. It's your floor.
Hey, this is Scoville Scorcher. We should probably talk about Scoville units. I'm going to use my 30 seconds to talk about where that comes from.
Go ahead.
Because it's really cool. So Scoville's a person. And he decided to try to put a unit to spice. But this is before we had any of the instrumentation we have now to actually measure how much of a molecule is present. And so the best he could do was he'd take something outrageously spicy and he'd find 5 volunteers. And he'd give it to each of the volunteers and they'd say, that's really spicy. So, okay, and he'd dilute it and give it to them again. And they'd say, it's still spicy. And so he'd keep diluting until they couldn't taste it anymore. And the number of dilutions was the Scoville scale.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So now the Scoville scale is actually based off of there's this content of the hot molecules in your stuff. And so we actually have it based off of a measurement, and it's based off the number of molecules of the hot stuff per mass of your salsa or whatever. So now it's very quantitative, but it used to be totally subjective. And the idea was if you get 5 volunteers, you hopefully have enough range in people's spice perception to try to come up with what a Scoville unit should be.
And also we learned that it can vary a bit, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the batch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. So even if you grow jalapenos in your garden, right? One pepper will be more or less spicy than another pepper. So even pepper to pepper, you have huge ranges in spiciness, or the Scoville units. So these hot sauces, they have to spend a huge amount of time blending to try to get a consistent product, because they're going to have variations in peppers coming through the door all the time for production. So it's probably a hard job. I bet they employ chemists.
If any of you chemists that want to go to industry, that can be a thing.
There you go. You can be a hot sauce chemist. Yeah.
Cool. Good job. Good
All
job,
right,
Sally.
you did it.
We made it through. Yes.